In this video, I'll be covering problems 31 through 45 from the English section on the ACT practice test number 1. So problem number 31. The Bahamas, a series of semi-tropical islands off of the southeast coast of the United States, which are home to some of the most unusual geological formations in the world, underwater caves known as blue holes. A. No change. B. States, R. C. States R. D. States, So the answer for this one would be B, because you don't really need this which here, and also this section of the sentence here is called an appositive, which just means that it's describing the subject, the Bahamas, but you don't really need it in the sentence. Like, you could take it out if you wanted to, and you just need commas before and after the appositive. So after the Bahamas and then after states, which is what is shown in this answer here. Page turn. Okay, next, number 32. So, given that all the following statements are true, which one, if added here, would most effectively introduce the topic of this paragraph? F. The Bahamas were formed from calcium carbonate, a component of seawater. G. Calcium carbonate, a common rock substance, is also found in seawater. H. Much of the land making up the Bahamas is still underwater. J. Most types of limestone contain calcium carbonate. So the correct answer here would be F, because it's talking about the calcium carbonate separated from seawater. So before that, you'd want to know like where calcium carbonate comes from, and so this tells you it's a component of seawater. Number 33, these grains built up, then compacted, forming the limestone that makes up the islands. A. No change. B. Are building. C. Will build. D. Build. So the answer for this one would be A, no change, because these grains they built up, which is the past tense of build, because this happened a long time ago. 34, over time, rainwater permeated the porous limestone but was trapped just above sea level, buoyed by the denser seawater below. F, no change. G, being buoyed because of it. I cannot say that word. H, being buoyed by. G, buoying it was. So the answer for this one would be F, because if you just read this sentence out loud, it makes sense the way it is, so you don't need to change it. 35. Jostled back and forth by tides, the layer of slightly acidic, brackish water eroded limestone faster than either rainwater or seawater could alone. A, no change. B, rainwater, or seawater, C, rainwater, or seawater. D, rainwater or seawater. The answer for this one would be D, because if you just have two things that you're listing, you don't need a comma. Number 36, as the limestone eroded, caves formed. F, no change. G, limestone, eroded caves. H, limestone eroded, caves. J, limestone eroded caves. So the answer for this one would be H, because this dependent clause, as the limestone eroded, is kind of introducing the sentence here, caves formed, with a subject and a verb. Number 37. Over time periods in which the weather changed drastically, sea levels rose and fell by hundreds of feet. Which choice most specifically illustrates how long the cave creating process took? A, no change. B, between the ice ages and the more temperate eras that followed them. C, during this extended time. D, as time passed. The correct answers for this would be B, because this choice just really illustrates that a lot of time passed. And that's what the question is asking. Number 38. This allowed the cave creating process to be a process that repeated at different depths, hundreds of feet apart. F, no change. G, repeat again and again at various different depths. H, repeat at different depths that varied. J, repeat at different depths. So the answer for this one would be J, because if you look over these choices and the sentence itself, it's just kind of redundant. It just says the same thing over and over again, because obviously different depths vary, and obviously if it's repeating, it means it's happening again and again. Oops, there's a coffee stain on this page. Oh well. Okay. Some of these, so number 39, some of these blue holes open to small contained caves, others open to miles-long interconnected tunnels. A, no change. B, caves that. C, caves, semicolon. D, caves, comma. So the answer for this one would be C, caves with a semicolon, because you can see in this example, so some of these blue holes open to small contained caves is a sentence, and then others open to miles-long interconnected tunnels is also a sentence. So to connect two sentences, you can use a semicolon. So that's the only choice here that works, because if you had a comma there, you would need a word like and or but also, but that's not in this choice. So it has to be C with a semicolon. Okay, number 40. At this point, so that's talking about the end of the previous sentence. At this point, the writer is considering adding the following true sentence. At 633 feet deep, Dean's Blue Hole in Long Island, Bahamas is a popular cave diving destination. Should the writer make this addition here? F. Yes, because it supports the preceding sentence by providing an example of a blue hole that is very deep. G. Yes, because it allows the reader to visualize a specific blue hole in the Bahamas. H. No, because it offers a detail that is unrelated to the paragraph's focus on the cave creating process. J. No, because it does not provide an adequate description of Dean's Blue Hole. So the answer for number 40 would be H, because the passage isn't even talking about this, so it offers a detail that's unrelated to the rest of the passage. Number 41. The telltale sign of a blue hole is a circular patch of water striking darker than the water surrounding them, and that's part of the next question. So 41. A, no change. B, strikingly darker. C, strikingly darkly. D, striking darkly. So the answer for this one would be B, because the blue hole is darker, and then strikingly is used to describe darker here. So number 42, the telltale sign of a blue hole is a circular patch of water strikingly darker than the water surrounding them. The answer for this one would be J, because it's the correct pronoun to use would be it, because the passage is talking about a blue hole, so it's talking about it. Number 43. Divers have found remains of turtles and alligators, now extinct on the island's stalactites and stalagmites from a time when the caves were above sea level, and artifacts of early human inhabitants. A, no change. B, alligators now, period, extinct on. C, alligators now extinct on. D, alligators now extinct, period, on. So the correct answer for this one would be C. And this one is, I thought it was a little harder, so the way I would do this is just kind of put each example into the sentence and then read it aloud. So to try a C out, divers have found the remains of turtles and alligators now extinct on the island's stalactites and stalagmites. So that makes sense because the turtles and alligators are extinct on these things listed here. And 44. Hundreds of blue holes can be sighted off the Bahamas. Which choice most effectively suggests the shape of blue holes as described earlier in the essay? F, no change. G, dot the waters of. H, darken parts of. J, appear in. So the correct answer for this one would be G. And that's because earlier in the essay it talks about these blue holes kind of dotting the waters of the Bahamas. So you just go back through the essay to try, or remember to try to find which one suggests the shape of blue holes. And then last, number 45. The writer wants to add the following sentence to the essay. In these depths, fossils and ancient rock formations are incredibly well preserved. This sentence would most logically be placed at point A in paragraph 1, point B in paragraph 2, point C in paragraph 4, or point D in paragraph 5. So the answer for this would be C, and you can see that find point C here. So here I'll just put the sentence in and then read it to see if it makes sense. The telltale sign of a blue hole is a circular patch of water strikingly darker than the water surrounding it. The darker water indicates greater depth. In these depths, fossils and ancient rock formations are incredibly well preserved. So you can see that if you place this sentence there, it would make sense and continue the flow of the passage. And to do this question, you would just go back through and see if the sentence would make sense in the various places that they give you. So some tips for this video is just always remember, for example, I think that this was on question 31. Remember that an appositive is just a phrase that's describing the subject of the sentence. So an example of this would be, my uncle, who lives in Canada, likes dogs. So this is the appositive here, and they ask about these a lot on the ACT test. So you could take this out and just have the sentence be, my uncle likes dogs, but this appositive here describes your uncle, so you need a comma before and after it. And this is just how you'd recognize one of these. And then also just always look for unnecessary kind of wordiness or things that mean the same thing in the phrases that they give you, because you always want to be as concise as possible. So sometimes, but I would caution against this because it's not always right, sometimes you can look for the shortest answer and see if that will work. And then make sure you comprehend the passage. You can even skim over it before beginning the questions if that helps you comprehend it, or after you finish the grammatical questions. And then remember that semicolons are used kind of like a period. They're used to link two complete sentences together. And you can also use a comma to do this, but you also need a conjunction like if, and, or but after the comma.